Okay, it's 9 a.m., so we are ready to begin. Okay, so the first session, we will be repeating the same practice that we did all day yesterday, and that will be the mindfulness of breathing. So let's everybody take your congenial sitting meditation position, and I'll repeat the instructions since there might be people joining today who were not present yesterday. Okay, so take your preferred sitting position. Keep the torso, the upper part of the body, keep it straight and upright, but not stiff or rigid. Hands can be placed on the lap, right hand over the left with the thumbs lightly touching. Or if you prefer, you could have the hands on the knees or the thighs. Whatever you find comfortable but enables you to sit upright. Head should be held with the nose perpendicular to the navel. Mouth closed, eyes lightly closed. Though some, I learned, prefer to keep the eyes slightly open, looking downward. Again, whichever you prefer. And for today's session, like yesterday, we're going to be moving in this session, to the narrow, specific focus on the breath around the nostrils. But first we begin with the general, we'll call this the global awareness of the body in the sitting position. And just let the mindfulness spread through the body and sink into the body. And then you observe that the body on its own is breathing in and out. And first you just become attentive to this natural breathing of the body, the way you actually feel it or experience it in the body. Expansion of the torso with the in-breath, contraction with the out-breath. And then you move the focus of your attention to the area around the nostrils or at the nostrils, or it could be on the upper lip just beneath the nostrils. Wherever you feel most clearly and distinctly the air coming in and going out, sort of the impact of the breath on that area around the nostrils. And this area is relatively subtle in relation to the attention to the expansion and contraction of the chest or the rise and fall of the abdomen. So one has to be particularly observant, very attentive. And what I find useful for keeping the mind on the breath is at the beginning of the in-breath, make the determination, mindful, I breathe in, and then you try to follow the entire duration or the entire extent of the breath through its duration to the end. And then when you're breathing out, to make the determination, mindful, I breathe out, and then continue the mental note out, 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 through the duration of the out-breath. But the focus should be on the felt sense of the breath at the nostrils or around the nostrils, not on the mental note. The mental note is just a tool to help you to ensure that you're keeping the breath in mind, not letting the mind slip away from the breath. And you have to be particularly observant, as I mentioned last evening, at the place where the in-breath comes to an end and before the out-breath begins, and where the out-breath comes to an end before the in-breath begins. And I found last night actually that it's useful in those intervals, that little space between the two phases of the breath, that's where you form the determination. So the in-breath comes to an end, and then you determine, mindful, I breathe out, and then you breathe out. The out-breath comes to an end, and right when it comes to an end, you make the determination, mindful, I breathe in. And that way the mind won't slip away in that little split second between the two phases. Okay, if you find that in trying to follow the breath around the nostrils, first, the way to keep the mindfulness on the breath, the ideal is to have a soft and gentle and relaxed mindfulness of the breath, rather than a narrow and tight, forceful mindfulness. We want to avoid tightening the mind. So try to keep the mind alert and attentive, but gentle, soft, and relaxed. But if you find the mind becoming too tight, too tense, as though you're sort of hammering a nail, focusing on the breath as though you're hammering a nail into the wall, then you can draw back from the narrow area, the small area of the nostrils, and just for maybe 30 seconds or so, or a minute, just observe the general in-breath and out-breath of the body, the global awareness of in and out breathing. And then after you sort of tune in to the general or global in and out breathing, then return the attention to the area around the nostrils. Okay, so we'll continue now for about 30 minutes in silence. Then we'll do the walking meditation, and then we turn to the next phase in developing this practice of mindfulness of breathing. You can relax now, and we end the session in the usual way by rubbing the palms to generate a little warmth. And then you take the warm palms, rub them over the face, top of the head, back of the head, back of the neck, down the shoulders, then the lower back, then down to the buttocks. You could massage that area to stimulate the circulation. And then you could come down to the knees. And if you've been sitting cross-legged, then you can come down to the ankles, toes, and feet. Okay, so now we're going to be doing a period of walking meditation, and I'll briefly review the instructions since there could be new people who weren't here yesterday. Okay, so with the walking meditation, the task is to walk mindfully, step by step, and you designate a particular stretch in your living quarters as your walkway, your walking path. And you have, it should be about 12 to 15 paces. You have a beginning point, the end point. You start off at the beginning point, and the task is to take each step as mindfully as possible, being mindful of the entire step. And at this stage, we're dividing or tending to each step in two phases. One is the phase of bringing the foot forward, which we call this pushing. And then the second is the phase of putting the foot down on the floor, which we call placing. So each step is divided into pushing and placing, pushing and placing. You start with the right foot, and then as you're putting the foot down, you're especially attentive to the contact, the feeling of the foot making contact with the floor. And so you continue in this way, mindfully walking from beginning to the end of the walkway. Then when you come to the end, then mindfully you stop. Mindfully you observe yourself standing, just for a couple of seconds. And mindfully you turn around, making the mental notes turning, turning, turning. Then you pause, mindful of standing, and then you walk back to the beginning point. And in this way, you're walking mindfully back and forth between the 2 points of the walkway. Okay, we will continue with this, or we will do this now for about 15 minutes, and then I'll sound the gong to return to the seats, and then we'll move into the next stage in the development of the sitting meditation. And then I will sound the gong. The gong will signal to return to your seat. First, the gong to start the session. So everybody can return to their seats now. Yeah, before we go further, I just want to show the direction in which we will be. Are people hearing me? Okay, okay. I want to show the direction in which we'll be moving. Okay, so we are in the section on the mindfulness of breathing. And what we've been doing so far, we start off with being mindful, one breathes in, mindful, one breathes out. We're not specifically designating, but trying to designate. Is the screen shared? Okay, because I say screen sharing is paused. Okay, so we're not specifically designating long breath and short breath, but we're just trying to follow the entire duration of the breath, or the entire extent of the breath. You know, sometimes it'll be long, sometimes short, but we're not labeling this is long breath, this is short breath, but we're just knowing, we're trying to know the full extent of the breath from beginning to end, from end to beginning. So that is what we've been doing so far. Now the next phase, the phase that we want to be moving towards is, and notice there's a change in the verb here. In the section we've been doing so far, the verb is one understands, or really better, one knows. One knows one is breathing in, one knows one is breathing out. But here the verb changes to trains. So this indicates that we have to make more effort in this stage. Not simply knowing, but we really have to train. Oh, they're not seeing the screen. It says, somebody raised a hand? Young? Okay, I'm going to stop share and return to the share. Something seemed to have gone wrong. Is it shared now? Okay. So there's a change in the verb from understanding, or better, knowing. Okay, so here we change the verb to one trains thus. And the training is that one breathes in, and this is the important phrase, experiencing the whole body. When breathing in and when breathing out, one trains experiencing the whole body. So we want to move to that phase, but it's difficult to jump immediately into that phase. So I found in my own experimentation a maybe a systematic method for moving into the experience of the whole body. And so that's what we'll be doing now in this period of meditation. And this will be largely a guided meditation, moving methodically, systematically, sequentially towards the experience of the whole body while breathing in and breathing out. So take your congenial meditation sitting position. And it should be fairly comfortable. So if you have starting to feel too much pain in the legs from sitting cross-legged, then you might sit in a more relaxed position. Okay, so we'll start with a couple of minutes of just simply doing the mindfulness of breathing in the way that I've explained already. Now you bring to mind the whole body in the sitting position, simply attending to being mindful of the body as sitting, and actually feeling the body sitting. And now what we're going to be doing is moving through the body, phase by phase, section by section, trying to pick up whatever sensations you can feel, you can actually experience in that part of the body. We're going to do this fairly slowly. And don't be concerned if you can't pick up all the sensations occurring in each part of the body, but you pick up whatever becomes evident to you, whatever becomes clear. Because as we go through, session after session, the mind becomes increasingly more sensitive, more refined, and is able to pick up the sensations at subtler levels. So initially we pick up the grosser sensations, and then over time we pick up these subtler sensations. This method is a little bit like the Goenka method, but somewhat different in that we're not going through the microscopic slices of the body, but taking whole parts of the body. And so we begin with the top of the head. You put your mindfulness on the top of the head. And you note whatever sensations you pick up there. Okay, now you can come to the forehead. Bring your mindfulness to the forehead, and whatever sensations you pick up, letting you know that there is a forehead there. You tune in to those sensations. Then you come to your face. Maybe what will be clearest in the face are the cheeks. You try to pick up the sense, the felt sense of the cheeks. Try to get the area around the eyes, below the eyes. You pick up the nose, not the nostrils for the in and out breathing, but just the form of the nose itself. Okay, then come to the jaw. And if you want to intensify the sensations there, you could sort of open and close your mouth. It's okay in the initial phase to get the sense of the presence of the jaw. The lips, and you could press your lips together to intensify the feeling in the lips. And you come to the chin. Sometimes that can be a little difficult, so no harm initially if you actually take your hand and sort of feel the shape of the chin. You could rub it a little bit, and then you remove the hand, and then you more clearly will feel the chin. Okay, then we come to the area, the front part of the neck. And you could include the throat as well. So when you swallow saliva, you'll feel the saliva going down the throat. So we take up the neck. And then we move over to the shoulders, and you take them one at a time. Maybe start with the right shoulder, and then move to the left shoulder. Just whatever sensations you can pick up. Okay, now we're going to move down the arms. And so first we take the upper arm, the upper part of the arm. Again, right and then left. And if you want to intensify the sensations there, you could actually flex the bicep muscle to make sensations clearer in the upper arm. But after you do that, without flexing the muscle, just try to pick up the sensations in the upper arm in the natural relaxed state. Then we move to the lower arm from the elbow down. Again, you alternate right and left. From the elbow to the wrist. Just take the whole area of the lower arm, and whatever sensations become evident, that is what you note. Then you take the hands, again, both right hand and left hand, hands including the fingers. If you have the hands one over the other, then you can feel the contact of the two hands, the back of one against the surface of the other. If you have the hands on the knees, then you'll feel the contact of the hands with the knees. Okay, now you bring the attention back up to the neck. Then from the neck, you move to the chest. Of course, there's the expansion and contraction of the chest, but try to attend not only to that, but the actual sensations in the muscle areas or in the muscles of the chest. Or women can attend to the breast. Okay, then we move down to the abdomen. And again, there'll be expansion. You'll notice expansion and contraction of the abdomen. We don't focus only on that, but on the sort of the sensations within the muscle tissue of the abdomen. Just whatever becomes apparent is sufficient. Okay, then from the abdomen, you go to the hips, right and left hip. And then the lower abdomen, including the pubic region. Okay, now you come up again to the top of the head. And then you move the attention to the back of the head. Okay, then you move to the back of the neck. And then the upper back, the shoulders, the upper, the shoulder, the shoulder, this would be the shoulders at the back. Then you come to the lower back, from the middle of the back down to the lower back. Again, looking for the actual sensation in the muscular tissue of the back. And then you come to the buttocks. Of course, what will be most evident is the pressure of the buttocks against the seat. And you could start with that, but move the attention into the actual tissue of the buttocks, looking for whatever sensations manifest there. Okay, then we're going to come down the legs. So we begin with the thighs. And you take each thigh in turn. First right and then left. Then take the knees. Again, each knee in turn. And then you move to the lower legs. Again, each lower leg in turn. Whatever you can pick up. I always find the lower legs to be my own sort of stumbling block. So I have to be very attentive to that area. And then you come down to the feet, including the toes. Again, take each foot in turn, right and then left. And if you want to intensify the sensations in the feet, you could contract each foot to heighten the muscular tension there. Okay, now you come back up to the entire body in the sitting position. Mindful of the entire body. And so now we've completed what we call the body scan. And now what we're going to do is what I call the body sweep. And for this, what we do is simply sweep quickly the attention, sweep the attention or the mindfulness through the entire body, from the head right down to the feet. Usually I find it takes me about 2 breaths to complete the entire sweep. With one out breath, I go from the head to roughly to the hips or the buttocks. And then with the second breath, from the buttocks through the legs to the feet. If you could do it in one breath, then you're very good. Okay, but it's like taking a bucket of water and pouring it over the head. And just as the water flows right down over the entire body, the outside of the body, what you're going to do is to sweep your attention through the entire body, from the top of the head right down to the soles of the feet. And you do this in several turns, you repeat it several times, say 3 or 4 times. Okay, go ahead and sweep. Picking up whatever you can. Don't keep on doing it over and over. Don't pause to look for details. Just like when you pour the water over the head, the water doesn't pause in order to ensure that it reaches certain part of the body, but the water just keeps on flowing down. So sometimes you'll pick up things clearly, other parts will be obscure. Doesn't matter, but you keep on doing it over and over. And now what you could try is sweeping down with the out-breath from head to feet, and then sweeping upwards with the in-breath, sweeping up from the feet to the top of the head. Again, you try your best, whatever you pick up is okay. Okay, now come back to the body in the sitting in the sitting position, simply being mindful of the body, sitting. And then try to be attentive to as much, without sweeping, without scanning, but just simply while sitting, try to pick up as much of the body as you can. The sort of global or comprehensive awareness of the whole body in the sitting position. Okay. I know that's quite rigorous, so you could relax a bit now. And now what we're going to do, I want to go through like another cycle of this. But so what we're going to do, we won't have a full regular walking meditation now. But what you could do, let's call it like a 5 or maybe 7 minutes of just doing, you could do rather fast, mindful walking. I mean, not extremely fast, but just at a fairly normal pace, just sort of to loosen up the mind a little bit so that it'll be ready to go through another round of body, of mindfulness of the body. And then I'll sound the gong for you to return to your seats. Okay, so everybody can be back in their seats. Take your congenial meditation sitting position. Again, a few rounds of mindful breathing to start off. And then you take in the entire body in the sitting position, just trying to feel the body in its concrete immediacy, right in the present moment. And then we do the slow, gradual body scan. I'll probably go a little more quickly this time. Okay, so begin with the top of the head, top of your head. And you move to the forehead. Then the face. Again, in whatever way you actually experience the face, the way you feel the sensations and different parts of the face, that's what you bring in. You take the lips, the jaw, the chin, then the neck, the front portion of the neck, and you can include the throat as you feel it when you swallow. And then we move to the shoulders. This would be the top of the shoulders, that portion, and you have to feel one at a time. So when you get experience, you could take in both almost simultaneously. And then we go down the arms, first the upper part of the arm, each arm in turn. Then the lower arms from the elbow to the wrist, each in turn. Then the hands, including the fingers. Okay, then you come back up to the neck. And then from the neck, you go to the chest. Then to the abdomen. You feel it rising and falling, but also experience the changes in the muscular tension within the abdomen. Then you go to the hips, each in turn. And then to the lower abdomen, including the pubic region. Okay, then you come back up to the top of the head. Then move to the back of the head. Then the back of the neck. Then the upper back. then to the lower back, then to the buttocks. Again, you can start with the pressure of the buttocks against their seat, against the seat. But then move inward into the fleshy tissue of the buttocks. Okay, now we're going to move down the legs. First, the thighs. Take each in turn, right and left. You could start with the pressure of the thighs against the seat or against the mat, but then move into the sensitive, fleshy tissue of the thighs. And then we take the lower legs from the knees. Actually, we could take the knees separately. Then the lower legs, again, right and left, and turn. And then the feet, including the toes. And if it's helpful, you could wiggle your toes to make the sensations sharper. Okay, now we come back up to the entire body in the sitting position. And let your mindfulness take in the entire the entire body, simply sitting, sitting. And now we're going to do the sweeping. So with the out-breath, you sweep the mindfulness from the head quickly down to the feet, taking in whatever becomes discernible, whatever is noticeable. And then with the in-breath, you sweep the mindfulness up from the feet up to the top of the head, again taking in whatever you can notice. Doesn't matter that there'll be large vacant spaces, but as the practice advances, the mind becomes more sharper and more sensitive. You keep on doing this over and over, but don't hyperventilate. Okay, now you end the sweeping and you simply sit, taking in the full body awareness, trying to take in the entire body with a kind of global awareness. If you need a verbal phrase, you could use a phrase of the Satipatthana Sutta, Ati Kayo. There is the body. Okay, you can relax now. And as usual, we'll end the session with a little self-massage. Okay, and remember, now we'll be breaking for the meal, and remember to try to maintain the mindfulness and clear comprehension through whatever you're doing during this intermediate session. If you're taking the meal, well, when you take your meal, you could apply the clear comprehension by investigating or examining the act of eating in terms of, I divide it into 5 phases. Taking the food, that's 1. Putting the food into the mouth, that's 2. Then chewing and tasting occur sort of alternately. So those are the 3rd and 4th phases, chewing and tasting. And when you're really attentive, what you notice is that the actual tasting of the food doesn't occur continuously, but just there are like momentary flashes of taste alternating with moments when the texture of the food is more prominent. So that's 3rd and 4th is chewing and tasting, and then the 5th phase is swallowing. And when you taste the food, if you find the food is delicious, you might notice a liking arise, and through liking turns into craving. So that's the way you notice the working of craving. Okay, so we will just end the session with 3 half bows, and then we'll depart for the lunch. And then we'll be back in your seats. Let's see what time the afternoon session starts at 1:50. And there I will take some questions during the first afternoon session.
Bautu Bande.
Sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante.
See you in the afternoon.
Lovely
Thank
lunch.
you, Bhante.
Take care.
Sadhu.
Very informative. Bhante, thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you, Bhante. Have a great lunch.
Very much, Bhante. So
Thank you.
important.
See you in the afternoon.